I'll spin it.
Spin
Flick
that
it. I meant,
wheel.
ooh, nice. We'll go with trace or 3.
3 is, and you can choose to answer this immediately or pass.
Oh.
But you gotta answer it at some point.
Favorite gym or PE, Fayed, class activity? Favorite gym class activity?
I guess, you said I can start since I spun? Or
You can start.
you first?
Yep, or you can pass.
I think I liked dodgeball. Wow, dodgeball, especially when it was in
Ring John's bell. Ring John's bell.
especially in high school.
Battle
'cause
ball? Was that another way for
No, Battle Bell.
battle ball or
Battle
dodgeball,
ball, dodgeball, same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Same thing.
there might be a few different rules, but well, I guess it was all throughout, but especially with Mr. Andrews, Stan, he just kind of let things go, and I had a pretty decent arm, and so it was fun to kind of throw it and I don't
Unleash
know,
the beast.
unleash the
every once
beast,
in a while.
Well, you do have 2 good arms.
yeah, one good arm that was kind of. I mean,
Not these days.
Well, more so the way that I as good as I can throw left-handed, I throw really poorly right-handed. I mean, some people can throw decent opposite, like it kind of
Most
looks
people are
natural.
amphibious.
Mine
No.
looks really bad.
No. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Now, like down in Mazo, when the gym was still available then, they had a basket of battle balls. And what they were is kind of
Harder
Foam.
plastic.
a little harder foam,
Oh, foam.
kind of. A little very, very light plastic so that you could throw them. They would go, but very soft. Did all of you play with the old battle balls? That is the round red
Yep.
Kickball.
At
kickball
least
type
I did.
thing.
Yeah,
so we
it
had smaller
changed.
ones and bigger ones.
Sometimes we'd have that. Sometimes we'd have volleyballs, and sometimes you'd. Well, I think middle school maybe middle school, and then like depended on there was 2 gym teachers at the time, and just depended I think what grade you were in, that which one you got. One of them would, if you were going against the girls, you had to throw like you said, like this
Okay.
kind of, or you had to maybe it was even like throw left. I can't remember exactly, but it was
Opposite hand, you mean?
make it a little bit more so you weren't chucking it if you did it girls versus guys, which was most of the time. But then there was Mr. Andrews, who
You mean co-ed?
co-ed? Sorry,
Okay,
yep.
not girls versus guys.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
didn't want
sorry,
people,
yep,
I just didn't
yep.
want people thinking.
Did all
Yep,
of you
yep.
guys have mixed the co-ed?
Yep.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
we never did.
Well,
we
we
had a
technically did
female gym teacher and a male gym teacher, and we had, when I was in school, it was not
Yes.
integrated.
We had a class my senior year that had one girl in it. She decided to take, it was called team sports, and there was
Team sports.
one girl, and we had a stacked lineup of athletes in there. For all of us were friends and stuff like that.
Calbert was in
then
there?
Cal was in there. Yep, and some other guys. But she
Few
decided
others.
because there weren't any other.
Stacked would be going at one.
Yeah, there weren't any other girls in there, so she went and they gave her a study hall because she didn't want to be in there with all of us, which I get it. So then we had all guys. It was just all guys playing floor hockey,
That was
battle ball, kickball.
all out war.
What?
We had some fun times with Zach Colby, aka Ray Charles. We would call him because he would ref and he would
Wouldn't see everything.
and then he would play, and then all of the calls would go his way.
So
Just a funny. Anyway.
that was fun doing that. Battle ball or dodgeball, whatever you call it, just because, and it usually fell on a Friday. It felt like 2 or whatever it was.
Just felt right about
Just
it.
Felt
felt
like
like
the end of the year,
And
kind of.
yeah,
Did you have gym every year you were in high school?
Yeah.
yes,
Did you have gym 3 times a week?
that
think
sounds
so.
right.
Okay.
I just remember with Stan. So Stan, and you people can fill in. Stan Andrews was this scary figure. That was an ex. Was he? He was in the Army or Marines or something.
But he played football for the Badgers.
And he played football for the Badgers.
Yeah.
And he just was a scary.
If he wasn't a Marine sergeant, he should have been a Marine
He
sergeant.
just was. There was just kind of an aura about him that you
was
didn't want to.
ornery.
You didn't want to mess
was-
with him,
yeah.
even at it
Yeah.
being old.
Yeah. I get it.
And so with that being said, he was then old school about things. Like I remember when we were in elementary school, if you got hit in the head by a ball, you weren't out. But
fair game.
Stan's thing was so we grew up with that, and then you'd get into high school, and you'd say, Stan, I got hit in the head, and he'd say, well, in a rock fight, are you out? Meaning, yeah, if you get hit in the head in a
course it
rock fight,
counts,
you're
yeah.
still out. Like, or you can decide to stay in if you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead if that's
Yeah.
what you want. But that was just funny. That was how that was his level of do what you want, but we're not calling. It's not like you get to stay in if you get hit in the head. So
Yeah, and so we had co-ed as well for that kind of stuff, and he would let anybody that didn't want. And there were a couple guys from time to time that didn't want to be a part of it either, because there weren't any real rules. I mean,
Free
obviously
for
there was a line
Yep.
that you couldn't pass, but he didn't have don't throw left-handed. He didn't have any
Right.
rules for
Yep.
if you're out playing, you were all fair game.
well,
So-
what he would
Can't
do is he
stand the heat,
usually
get out
had
of the
a
kitchen.
yeah.
He usually had, at least when I was in high school, because of regulations and such, he would have to move to those softer balls. Well, then every once in a while he would mix in some
Of the kickballs.
some kickballs or volleyballs.
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd just say,
There's
all right,
more-
if you want in,
Yeah.
you're in.
Yeah.
If you want out, this is your chance to get
Yeah,
out.
that's
And
when it becomes real a
Yep.
little bit more, doesn't it? Yeah.
so that made it
Yeah.
sometimes some fun too.
Yeah.
So
That's it for me.
When he, speaking of Stan Andrews, when he was the football coach, varsity football coach, the first one they had at Heights, and I remember hearing stories from my older cousins of some of the stuff that went on in football practice, and those of you who have heard those stories, those were true. But he took that mentality, that football wrestling mentality, into gym class. And we, of course, didn't have girls in there. And so it was just all out war all the time. And he would have the basketball players wrestle against the wrestlers. And then the wrestlers play. He liked to pit people up against one another. And I remember one time my cousin Perry, he was about 6'3" and 200 pounds. He wanted to wrestle Stan Andrews. Dumb. And I mean,
this was
Stan
back
wasn't
when-
tremendously young, but he was probably, in his upper 30s. Stan took Perry up through his legs, one on his shoulder, up through his legs, and threw him on his head.
Oh,
No problem at all. Done. Perry done. Perry was done.
Perry, not so bright.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the kind of stuff. And there were a few times when what we were supposed to do, you get your gym clothes on, and you're supposed to line up on the line. If you didn't line up on the line, if you were goofing off, frogging around, and he came around the corner, it was calisthenics the whole time. Calisthenics.
for everybody, right?
Everybody. And we would have basketball games that night. Didn't matter.
He was probably hoping.
Yeah,
you
he
were
probably
clowning
was.
around on a
yeah, he
basketball
did
night.
not have a lot of patience for basketball
I
players.
mean, he was so much more tame because of society and all that other
Yeah.
stuff when I was in school. So
Yeah.
that's not.
Yep.
I don't want to make it sound like he was the same as he was when you were in high school.
No, he
But-
even softened some. But I remember coaching junior high basketball, and when he was out there still doing gym, I remember a couple of things. I would come in the gym, and all of a sudden he would yell, and that would scare me. And I was quote a faculty member. And sometimes I would hear how people would talk to him. And I say, you can't talk to him that way. He's going to kill you. But he had softened, and like you said. But back to the
original question.
Favorite things. That's battle ball. Was that your favorite too? Or dodgeball?
Well, let's go to Hudson and let's get
my
his.
bad. My bad.
Yes.
I guess I don't matter anymore. My favorite was my senior year. We invented a game, kind of. It was team handball. We used a kind of a soccer ball. It was kind of furry.
Mm-hmm.
It was green, but it was lighter than a basketball and
okay.
I
smaller.
know exactly what you're talking
And we would have the hoops down. So team handball, and we had the air hockey nets, or not air hockey, the floor hockey nets out.
Okay.
Yes,
You'd
those
have a
are pretty
goalie
small.
in there. A goalie was in there, but you could also shoot into the basket. We called it super speedball. That's what it was called. So you could drop it, and there's speedball, and then there's super speedball, and you could drop kick it into the goal for 2 points. You could throw it into the goal for 1 point, or you could shoot a three from behind the 3-point line and make it
Yeah.
for 3 points. So that was a lot of fun. We kind of invented that and played that a lot. Not as much as kickball my sophomore year, Stan's last year there.
So which one was your favorite?
Well, super speedball. I'm just saying we played kickball for like 4 months
Obvious.
at the end of the year. Every day kickball.
Every
4
day.
months.
Yeah, we're going kick today.
My favorite was we played even more super
Super
speedball.
Kind
That
of
you-
This was
Super
even more
speedball.
fun.
That you
more fun.
did even more inventing.
Yep. mhm.
It's
You
okay.
could kick it from outside the gymnasium, and if it broke a window,
went-
it was
went
Went
17
over the
Highway
gym.
points.
14.
Yeah, went on to Highway 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing. I have two that I'm torn between, but I'm gonna come.
Twixt
I'm
two
gonna-
loves there.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm torn betwixt
These are your
those
top
two
10?
loves. It was I liked sponge hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Those like
called.
Q-tips.
Yep, they look like Q-tips,
Yeah.
and that was fun. I liked
That was
that
fun.
because it was fun. They were light, and then you could just whack them, like
Whack
just
people?
whack the ball. No,
Oh,
whack the ball. That was
yeah.
fun. Or big base kickball.
Oh, you liked that?
Mm-hmm.
I ran into somebody. You do the diagonal. Didn't see him coming. We ran right into each other.
I liked that. I was pretty good at that game too, where you'd play with the whole gymnasium, and you would kick
Gymnasium.
it, the old James,
Gymnasium.
and you'd go in there and you'd kick the ball, and then you'd have to run to the first base that was over to your right, that was
like
real
10 feet
short.
away.
Then you had to run diagonally across
To the other baseline,
corner
yeah.
of the. It
You're
was
going from corner to corner,
box to box, making it very
Making
difficult.
it very difficult.
And so anyway, that was I'm torn between those, but I think I'd probably go with big base kickball.
Okay.
But you got to be kidding me. Everything you just said
Is
is my favorite
favorite
thing.
every day.
Every day.
I think we played floor hockey. I like floor hockey.
But you had Stan Andrews?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We played a little bit of that. We played a lot of kickball.
Yes.
We're going to go kick.
We're going kick today.
we did.
You gotta
we
tell
did.
that story.
We did handball, and
Oh,
we did
racquetball.
racquetball.
Mm-hmm.
and team like
He would do like a really, really short segment of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But that was probably good. I remember my freshman year, we had 9 people. 9 people in our freshman year. And Andrew Mascow would miss almost every Monday. I don't know where he was.
Masco
He-
Mondays.
Yeah, right. So then we'd end up with 8. And so, but we tried to play basketball sometimes, and it's like you can't play with 8 people or 9 people.
And he wouldn't play, of course.
Yeah. But we also did wrestling and, but yeah, I like floor hockey. I really like battleball too. I really liked that. That was
You know what
fun.
he also made us do?
What else did he make? you do?
The military or whatever
The Marine
President-
physical fitness.
Well, I don't know if it was for us. It was
Marines.
Marine, but it felt like the Marines to me. I did terribly on those, and he was so tough on his grading. It was like you had to get like 50
You-
push-ups
you would do
in order to get an
push-ups.
A.
Yeah, you would do push-ups, and you do. In fairness, I probably wasn't doing the push-ups the right way, but you'd get
First,
5
he'd stick
out.
his foot out. That was
Oh,
the.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that he would stick his foot out.
Joe.
Take it
No,
away.
he would stick his foot out.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
right,
right. I
he was
wasn't.
getting
I wasn't
that.
telling it right.
Okay.
Go ahead. You would stick his foot
He
out.
would stick his foot out, and he would say, "You'd touch your chin to his foot in order to count as one."
Oh, I thought it was always your chest.
Chest. Yep.
He'd
maybe
put,
it was
he'd
your
put
chest.
his hand down like this.
And
You
then
had it even more difficult than we
yeah,
did.
and then he would start counting. Anyway,
Sometimes
Go
you'd be
ahead.
5 or 6 in.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
and then he'd
And
say,
they'd
just
say
tell
one,
me
two,
right
go
off the bat.
1, and
Yeah.
you'd go, "What?"
And I just said, I would sit there. I'd say, well, I just did a fifth of what I can do, and now I've done 1. So I'm going to crank out 5 of these.
Which then also made you worse at doing them because you thought, "Wait a second, he just counted 1."
Well, maybe you
And
were
so
doing
that
it
threw
wrong
you-
your whole life.
Well, yes, but that threw you off because you're like, "Oh no, I just blew
Speaking of-
5 of them."
Yeah, right. Speaking of doing push-ups wrong,
Yes.
that's probably why your arm hurts.
Yeah.
Just
So, what was your favorite? Was
battle ball.
battle ball or
Or floor hockey, probably.
You only pick
With
one.
Jim Van Fossen and his, he
Yes.
had every
Wind
day
pants.
he wears wind pants,
Yeah, windbreakers.
and I think they were all different.
Yeah.
You want
You
to talk,
imagine
you want
having
to talk
a
about a
wardrobe
sweet
full of
gym
those.
teacher.
Yes.
yeah,
Jim Van
Fossen.
Fossen.
does.
What a
Amazing.
name too.
Yeah,
That's a good name,
and he
too.
and he was quite the athlete
Yes.
too.
He
When he
was.
was younger, he'd come down and fly around the gym literally.
I remember
mean,
sometimes he would
jump.
talk like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What are you
Yeah, all right, get down and do some push-ups. He'd say
Was he
stuff like
really?
that. Yeah, which was kind of fun as a kid.
Yeah.
What about yours, Dad?
I'm trying to think. Jim was not because we did a lot of physical fitness stuff twice a year. We did the Marine
Mm-hmm.
physical fitness test, which I'm not that great of a raw athlete.
You pass that down.
Yep.
To
and,
most of us.
and I'm more of a sport athlete. But we didn't do a lot of sports. I mean, we played a little bit of flag football. We played a little bit of basketball. We wrestled. We did some handball and racquetball. But we did a lot of battle ball and calisthenics. We did a lot of that. But I remember some of my least favorite times and favorite times were before and after gym class. You know, taking showers and being in the locker room, just like with sports. Now, when you're a freshman, when you're a freshman, then there's always, when I was in school, there was always initiation. So there was always some guy or group of guys that were juniors and seniors looking to punch you or do other things. Hazing. They call it hazing now.
Punching was the
least
The
of
least of the
offenses,
yeah,
yeah.
that was the least of it. But then it was fun to be in the locker room talking and laughing and goofing around. So that was part of the whole experience of having an all guys gym class.
Yeah.
And just one thing, I mean, I liked battle ball. I had a pretty good arm. I was a baseball player, and it was fun that sometimes guys would forget. You didn't forget very much, but you'd get up against the bleachers.
Yep.
And they would throw one of these balls, and guys had good arms, and they would catch you in the head, and it
Yep.
would ricochet your
Yep.
head off
Yep.
of the
Yep.
bleachers.
Yep.
And it was like a double whammy.
Yep.
So you got hit with a ball, hit the bleacher, and then the whiplash.
Wow.
And nobody, as far as I know, nobody ever left gym class hurt. They were probably hurt, but they never were taken
Hurting,
off.
yeah.
They were never taken off on a stretcher. It just
hurt.
like Stan
Don't
said to
face
you, Stan Andrews said to you, when you had a concussion playing
Yeah.
football, they just don't make heads like they used to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true or we just didn't
Well,
report
you guys
it,
had a
but-
lot of cushion back then, though, too, with your hair.
Yeah,
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was a good question. Thank you
Yeah.
for answering those. Favorite gym class
Thanks.
activity.
I hope we didn't make Stan Andrews sound like a horrible
Yeah, he-
person.
Oh,
No,
we like
no.
Stan.
There's a lot
That
of
was
good things
fun.
about
Fond
that.
Yeah.
memories. Very
Fond
fond
memories.
memories.
Well, for one thing, even if you went through his tougher years, which I didn't go through the toughest, because he had calmed down quite a bit by the time I got into school. There was a little bit of you felt like you kind of had something. You know, your gym teacher was tough. I know everybody's gym teacher is tough for football, but he was tough. He was tough. But there's a lot of people that have fond memories of that. They'll talk, you know, guys at reunions and stuff, they'll talk about
Yeah.
Mr. Andrews with fond memories of
Yeah.
kind of being a
Making you
older
tough.
brother,
you want
dad,
to
kind
make, you
of
want to
being
make
tough.
him proud
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and I think
sure.
we did leave out that Jim Van Fossen, his given name spelled GYM.
Yeah. Gym.
Yeah.
He changed
His
his
full
Gymnasium
name is
Van
Gymnasium.
Fossen.
Didn't need to change it. That's how it was his given name.
Give.
He had to be a gym teacher.
Yeah.
Was born to be a gym teacher.
Gym teacher, yeah.
Well, I think we've done it.